Our results are trickling in, and it appears that coalitions will be the order of the day. eNCA's projection team is here to update us. I'm joined by Jan Joubert, who will give us the latest. Jan, thank you very much for joining us.
Mfundo, such a pleasure.
No, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Perhaps to start with the numbers in the municipalities right now, the new figures, but also the DA winning that municipality. I mean, given the politics of KZN, it's a big win for them.
It's a big win, and it means that Chris Pappas will become the mayor of Umgeni. He is a farmer's son from the Natal Midlands, the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands, and fluent in at least two of the three official languages of the province. I don't know how his Afrikaans is, but his English and his Zulu is pretty good. And that area is a beautiful part of the most beautiful province. It is the area, if you drive on the N3 and you're coming from Durban and you're coming up here to Gauteng, that's just when you go up Town Hill outside of Pietermaritzburg, then you hit Hilton, home of Hilton College. Then you go into Balgowan, which is the home of Michael House. So it's the Cotswolds of South Africa. And it also, I've said this before because we told you here first, they were going to win it, that it is the ward, it has the ward with the highest average age in any ward in South Africa. It's a ward that's in Howick itself, and the average age is 79, and it's known as God's waiting room.
My goodness, but what does it say of the politics there now? There clearly is a shift. The ANC is losing its grip. We're seeing the IFP as well doing very well. There's clearly a lot happening in KZN.
There's a lot happening, and it depends where in KZN you're looking. Now, earlier the DA leader, Mr. Steenhuisen, claimed huge success, rightly so, in the Indian community, predominantly Indian areas of Durban, Chatsworth and Phoenix. The DA took wards off the ANC there. Also, they did pretty well in the city itself. ANC took a DA ward in Newlands West, which is in Durban. But the big news in KwaZulu-Natal is the resurrection and the growth of the Inkatha Freedom Party.
Which is an interesting one.
It's fascinating. And, you know, it's not just a matter of retaining their areas. They have grown hugely. When that electoral map fills out tomorrow, you will see a red wall which will run down to Mapumulo from the Mozambican border. It will include Utrecht in Damangeni municipality. It will include Vryheid, which is the Abatkulusi, Kwanongoma, Ulundi, all those areas which they once had. Umsinga down to, we're waiting for Greytown and Mvoti. As Mr. Singh said earlier, Umchezi, Estcourt, Mnambiti, Ladysmith.
So what does it say about the current leader? Because some thought they couldn't shift this perception or they needed to reinvent. Now you have Villenkosi coming in. What has changed with the voters?
I'm wondering about this. I wonder whether the IFP didn't get it perfectly right. All other parties, when there's a leadership change, there's a scuffle.
Yeah.
They declare the previous leader to be leader emeritus, bring in the new leader, Mr. Hlabisa, or Nkosi Hlabisa, and they make him head in their home province of KwaZulu-Natal in the legislature. That might just have worked.
An interesting point, and I know Gwede Mantashe has constantly said we might need to manage this, this type of issues that we have in the ANC, that if we're going to have succession, let us manage it. Some people said, no, you're going against democracy. We don't want a managed process where you're now moving from this to this. But clearly it's worked for the IFP. And what is left in the ANC are factions every time you don't have a managed process. And I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. Allow for democracy, people choose who they want, or manage the process of succession.
Yes, I mean, that's a controversial situation. I mean, each one does it his own way. But I think if you say the proof of the pudding is in the eating, the people eating pudding in KwaZulu-Natal tonight is the Inkatha Freedom Party.
Yeah, it really is in the pudding. And then to the Freedom Front Plus. Interesting one here. We know how it was formed, where it comes from. Is there a shift with perhaps the white voter that is no longer necessarily looking for the liberal DA and decides that, you know what, we're going for this type of a nationalist party?
Heck of a question. That we could discuss all night, and we don't have all night.
Sure.
But let's say this. Maybe the fact that the Democratic Alliance, to some degree in certain parts of the country, did not stay the party of reconciliation, but tried so hard to win back and to out-Freedom Front the Freedom Front. You don't out-Freedom Front the Freedom Front. The Freedom Front is the Freedom Front.
Because they've always known who their constituency is.
Well,
and now you had a DA that wants to be many things to many people.
Well, the DA had massive successes in certain parts of the country, but wait for those results coming in from the north of the country. The Freedom Front is going to have an enjoyable evening tonight.
No, Jan, thank you very much. Some great insights coming there from you. Well, still to come.